Oh, sure. I mean, who can even start? I mean, you remember the atmosphere in that time period after January 6th, the media speculation, the accusations going back and forth about all sorts of things.
We just heard from Charles Burnham, one of the lawyers for Trump co-conspirator 2, John Eastman. We're back with former acting U.S. Solicitor General and MSNBC analyst Neal Katyal. First, Neal, your response to some of what we heard there.
So I don't have any problem with Mr. Burnham, Ari. I mean, the guy couldn't answer who even won the 2020 election, which seems a little bizarre, but okay, I guess. He's got a tough job to do. He's trying to do it. Notably, Mr. Burnham's not doing what John Eastman did, which was plot a coup actively. He's just trying after the fact to defend him. But the defense to me that we just heard, Ari, was so weak as to be almost laughable. I mean, coup plotter is not a description for a lawyer. And if Mr. Burnham wants to call John Eastman's efforts here advising a client or representing a client, then I think there's only one word to describe that, which is malpractice, because there's a good reason John Eastman is being called a co-conspirator and not a constitutional scholar. I mean, if Eastman were just writing law review articles, or as Mr. Burnham said, debating some law professors on podcasts, that'd be one thing. But instead, what he did was actively pressure the vice president and state legislatures to go through with a harebrained scheme that, as you pointed out, even he thought was illegal. You don't go seeking a pardon if you thought what you're doing was kosher.
Yeah, and I was curious for you to give us context, because I gave him time, and he should get time. People can hear all the claims and arguments. That's how cases work. But I also tried to point out to viewers, and I'm curious to get your expertise, that part of the defense of Mr. Eastman now seems to be arguing that things which are quite extreme or never even made it to the court are in essence somehow unresolved or open questions. And so I'm curious if you could walk us through that. And you're quite a good guest for this, having been tapped by Obama to deal with many Supreme Court cases. What does it mean to you if Mr. Eastman's basic defense is, I thought of things that never reached the court, so who knows? Maybe they would work.
Yeah, it's really a terrible defense. And what you heard is, well, there wasn't a square court case, which is wrong, as I'll explain in a moment, but also that Mr. Eastman was just a champion of state legislatures, and that's what he's doing. I mean, most people who plot coups don't say the word coup. It's shrouded with language like what you just heard. And when he says, oh, Mr. Eastman just wanted to send the matter back to the states, and that he was a champion of state legislatures, what he really means is take the election away from you and me. That's a matter in which all Americans voted, and those votes were certified by state secretaries of state in all the cases, and 62 different courts had signed off on that. And what did Mr. Burnham, Ari, just cite as authority for Eastman's proposition? He said, well, the Supreme Court decision in Moore versus Harper just reaffirmed Eastman's theories. I can tell you about that one because I argued that case.
Go for it.
Mr. Eastman lost it. So as bad a loss as you could possibly had, 6 justices, including the Chief Justice, Justice Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, all said this was preposterous. And so, you know, what this really is, this send the matter back to states legislature idea was just a basic claim to throw out the popular vote and replace it with your own state legislatures. That is undemocratic every day of every week. This was a coup.